Hello, everyone. You are listening to the Barrett and Brown podcast. My name is Mason Barrett.
And my name is Grant Brown.
Today, we're going to be talking a little about the future, that being our plans and our plans with the company and where we see everything going in the future. As of right now, Barrett and Brown is being developed into a key part of our future. We are planning on increasing our catalog and getting more. What should I say? Instead of reasonable pricing, what should I say?
Well, with Barrett and Brown, right now we're kind of in a phase of transition. Our current process of manufacturing is such that we do not develop the actual garments themselves. We choose certain manufacturers based on their reputations and based on their ecological standards, and we submit our designs into them, and it's a pretty good agreement. However, the way that works, even though it's better for the environment and it's just good, like of course I'm the co-founder. I'm gonna tell you all the good things about B&B, but our current strategy is not necessarily affordable for us or for the consumer. Um, so right now we're in a big phase of trying to lower our prices while maintaining this commitment to quality that we currently have. Um, and that's definitely negatively impacting sales for us, but it's
the best we can do at the moment.
Yeah, that's our commitment to making the best clothing, and I think there's definitely something to that. So we're working on it, but yeah, it's taking time.
At the end of the day, we are still just two teenagers trying to run a business.
That is one thing that I think a lot of people who know us personally and have heard about B&B through word of mouth don't fully grasp. We do not have any support from any adults whatsoever. The company is signed off in Mason's dad's name, just so that it has a legal adult affiliate. Yeah. But he does not participate in anything that we do. Every single decision that Barrett and Brown does, every little social media, every clothing piece that we design, everything that we sell is designed in-house by us. So it takes time. And I think Barrett and Brown definitely has something special here, considering how young we are. I think this company is definitely destined to stick around in one way or another over the course of the next decade. And I think that's one of the major reasons why we wanted to talk about our future plans, because that is what Barrett and Brown ultimately represents, is the future.
That was a good monologue.
Thank you. I'm pretty proud of myself on that one.
Yeah. You should be like a James Bond villain or something.
Hell yeah. I can't play actual James Bond because I'm an American. But
yeah.
I'm working on my British accent.
Well, don't you develop accents when you go somewhere?
Yeah. Which leads into what we're going to be talking about here in a bit. Yes, I will. I'll probably develop a light English accent, considering I'll be living there. But that's a little far ahead in the future. That's about 6 or 7 years from now. So I think
Here's how I think we should split this up really quick. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I think we should kind of like bounce back and forth. So like our plans for the rest of high school, a couple years beyond high school, so on and so forth, like kind of increments, and they'll just bounce back. So you get like a good taste of each one.
Yeah, I think that's what we should do.
Okay.
Well, in terms of high school plans, I'm gonna kind of let you take the lead on this one because my high school tenure is almost over.
Yeah.
So all right, let me hear your last 2 years, or I guess last year of high school. Now more like.
Yeah.
Let me hear.
Yeah. Last year and a couple months. Don't remind me. So, unlike Grant, I really enjoy high school. You know, we're very different people when it comes to socializing and going to a place where you have to deal with a bunch of teenagers. And apparently Grant doesn't like that for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to really graduate early or anything. I'm enjoying my high school life, and really, the big thing I'm focusing on is since my senior year, I'm only gonna have a couple classes. I'm planning on getting my EMT license or EMT certified, I guess, because I want to end up being a firefighter and later on becoming a fire captain, all that cool stuff. But that's again, down the road. But as of right now, I'm kind of just living the pretty standard high school life. I'm probably going to end up working at AutoZone part time.
Hell yeah.
So, I'm not going to have a lot of time, but I'll be making some good money. And that
Yeah.
means we can also afford to do cooler stuff for the brand, which is always
That
nice.
that that'll be another thing. Yeah. As a disclaimer to our viewers, obviously we're going to make the assumption that those who are listening don't have as intimate of a knowledge of our inner workings as we do, as the owners of the company. Um, but Mason is the wallet of the company. And that was kind of the agreement, is that like I'll take care of putting this company in the direction that it needs to go and making it do all the things it needs to do. I just need you to be able to financially back us up, and it works pretty well. We share a vision for the company, and all in all, the translation from labor to hours and money to hours is pretty even between us. um, so that's how it works in the background. I haven't been able to dump any money into Barrett and Brown whatsoever because I'm broke. I I live in poverty, so I needed someone else to to pick up the check for me. Um, so Mason and I have a pretty good system worked out for Barrett and Brown, and it ensures that both of us are always doing our part.
Hmm.
Um, but while we're on the topic of high school, I've put in the effort to graduate a year early from high school. So this is my junior year and my senior year at the same time. And it feels like it because I have 16 or 15 periods this year, on a standard eight
Wait,
period
you have
schedule.
16?
Yeah, including my online courses. Yeah.
Damn.
Um, on a standard eight period schedule. Um, so it's been pretty rough. Junior year is always the hardest, but I think I get to complain the most. Um,
Yeah, I'm not going to complain about my classes being difficult anymore.
well, not many of them are AP classes because I knew that I was going to be crunch time. Um, I only have one AP class, and I'm failing it, so I'm taking another course to make up for that credit. Um, um, and that's
Screw
AP
AP,
physics.
though. AP is so
Yeah,
stupid.
AP
You
is
learn the same
stupid.
thing, it's just more difficult.
Yeah.
You-
um, yeah. So with my junior year, I knew I needed time. That's been one of the big attitudes of my life, and we'll get on with that as we go farther down the timeline. Um, but I've always had this attitude of like I don't have time. Like I got to do this, I got to do that because like you know we only get 80 some odd years on this planet if we're lucky, and I kind of forced myself into the mindset over time of like you need to get your dreams finished because so many people wait and then they don't make it happen. And I think fundamentally me graduating early is due to that mindset. I don't want to have one precious year wasted when I have other things to be doing, which we'll get to that in a little bit. So
That's a
let's
good
talk.
sentiment.
Let's get to what's going to happen directly after high school. Mason, all yours.
So, directly after high school, I'm not special, so I'm gonna graduate when I'm 18, my senior year. So I'm not as cool,
You
I
are
know.
you are special, Co. We're both special in like
You know.
a specific way.
Yeah. um. So right out of high school, I'm basically just gonna immediately start working as long as I can get my EMT certified, and find a job. Which it's Florida. There's plenty of firefighter jobs available, and the plan is I'm gonna stay at my house for about like a year, and get kind of settled into the new life of working and not being in high school. I hope to
Yeah.
kind of hang on to some of my friends and all that, but I'm also it's gonna be nice having, my own actual income stream and kind of just being an adult. That'll be cool.
Yeah,
But
having
eventually,
that nice sense of responsibility.
yeah, exactly. Eventually, my plan is I'll save up a little bit of money. I know for first-time home buyers, sometimes you get a deal when it comes to your down payment. So the plan is I'm going to save up a little bit of money, and I want to try to buy a house by the time I'm like 21, 22, which sounds pretty scary, but I'm in kind of a optimal position to do that because I don't really like the idea of renting an apartment. And I know Grant has his own feelings about that, but
Because I'm poor. I've lived in apartments my whole life, and apartments aren't that bad. I just like they're fine. I
I
don't
I like
whatever.
houses though, and I feel
Yeah,
like I'm in a good situation, or I will be in a good situation to do that because I'll be a bachelor, right? And I'll just be
hmm
making a pretty decent amount of money, and I won't really have any other expenses, so I might as well. And then, you can build equity on all that stuff, and then I'll also kind of just have, I guess, getting my own house will just give me the ability to kind of do whatever I want when I want, and it'll increase my productivity when it comes to trying to open a storage unit business, which is kind of going to happen. That's later. That's not straight post high school. It's going to happen in
we'll
a
get to
couple of
that. Yeah,
years. But
yeah,
I don't know. Once I'm able to get my own house and I'll be, working, but not too much because firefighters only work. Well, I actually work a lot of hours per week, but it's just broken up in a way that you have a lot of free time. So
yeah,
I'll have more time to work on B&B. I'll have more time just to kind of live and enjoy my young years.
yeah. Absolutely. I think, especially having more time to work on B&B is going to be crucial. Um, because directly after high school, I'm not going to be here a whole lot. Um, I am already enlisted in the U.S. Marines. I've sorted out everything. I'm going to be going to MEP soon. I got an 82 on my ASVAB. Um,
What is that, like a percent score thing?
an 82 is it's out of 99,
Damn.
and I
So
think
you
an
could have gone in the Air
80.
Force.
Yeah, but the Air Force commitment wise is no bueno. And also for my job in the Marines, I'm getting paid a lot more than what any Air Force role would have given me. Um, um, also, I'm joining the Marines because I wanted a more hands-on job. I wanted to be on the field working. And most entry-level Air Force jobs are office jobs, and I joined them. I'm joining the military to serve. You know, I have a family history of the Air Force, so like I don't want to talk too much shit, but you know, when I said I wanted to be a soldier, I meant like an actual soldier. So
Not the Chair Force.
yeah, not the Air Force. I love planes. I wanted to become a fighter pilot for a very brief period of my life, but the year commitment on that is too big for what I have planned in the more distant future. So I've decided to instead pursue getting my pilot's license as a separate endeavor, and make that unrelated to the military. Um, I will be in the Marines until 2030 as a combat engineer, and they've estimated that I can make anywhere between 100 and 120K right off the bat, which for being under 18 is not
Pretty
bad.
great. Yeah,
Yeah. um,
you'll be making more
my
than me.
plan, um, my plan though is I'm gonna continue to live with my mother. Thanks, mom. Um, my dog is trying to break into my room. um, I'm gonna be crashing with my mom at this house, and I'm gonna save the vast majority of what I make, so that eventually I can redivert all of my funds into getting my first race seat with Porsche. Um, Porsche, ideally, but more realistically, just any racing team that's domestic, that has an open seat. Um, there's a bunch of teams that I've always wanted to drive for, particularly Ferrari, McLaren, and Porsche. And it was Formula One during Lewis Hamilton's era that I got into racing. So of course Mercedes is up there. Um, but we're I don't know when in my career I could ever drive for Mercedes, but we'll see. I would like to though one day. Um,
It'd be pretty
but
cool to watch you win a Formula One championship.
well, we'll definitely be getting to that. That's yeah, we're gonna talk about that. But since I've branched out, oh, I'm sorry. Since I've branched out into 2020 into 2030, I think we should switch it back to you. Um, 6 years on from now, 6, 7 years on, what do you see for your future,
I'm gonna be
Mason?
25 in 6, 7 years. In 7 years,
Yep.
I'll be 25. That's crazy. Can you believe that?
Yeah. It's yeah.
So the plan is, once I have my own place and I have kind of a stable job like that, I'm planning on getting my business degree online. And then from there, I know you don't need a business degree to start a business, but it's always nice. Provides you with a lot of knowledge, and it looks better when you're applying for legal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And what I want to do is I want to open my own RV storage unit, and eventually I'll make it a chain because they're usually pretty successful, especially here in Florida because it's a bunch of old people, a bunch of campers, and they want to park. And the nice thing about RV storage is that you kind of just park it and forget it, and there's not a whole lot of like input that the
Hassle.
owner has. Yeah, it's good passive income because you hire an employee later on once it starts getting up and moving. You don't really need to show up ever. You kind of just
Mm-hmm.
have it there, and a lot of people forget that the trailers are there and just pay the $150 every month, and they don't notice it, which
Yeah.
that makes me sound like a bad person. It's like,
Well,
but it's not
also
my fault that
that's
they forgot
that's
it.
just yeah, that's a natural capitalist mindset. It's you've got to work like that in today's economy,
Yep,
and it's not there's nothing particularly shady about it. It's just like it's a business, and
yep,
it's a really profitable business, especially in a place like Florida where so many people are either passing through on vacation or are going there on vacation. Like the 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 geographical advantage for you is going to be really good to the point where like you could reach a corner in the market and all of a sudden find yourself as one of the richest guys in Palm Coast, which would say a lot.
yeah,
So like um yeah, I think the idea of you starting that RV business in a place like Palm Coast particularly is like definitely like that's probably one of the smarter calls, especially considering how close you are to Daytona.
yeah.
Um, Plenty of RV action there too.
Oh yeah,
So
especially during the race season.
yeah, absolutely.
So
So you're
the
definitely on
plan
the
is
spot.
with that eventually is that'll be my main source of income eventually, and then the firefighter thing will just be doing it because I like helping people. Being a
Yeah.
hero is pretty cool. And anyway, that'll end up being my source of income. It'll be nice 'cause it'll be mostly passive. I won't need to. Obviously, there's still a bunch of work involved. Once you kind of get it rolling, once you have your first one, it'll be a lot easier to get your second and third lot, and then
Yeah.
it's kind of snowball effect. I know, obviously, it won't go forever, but there's a pretty high ceiling when it comes to success there. And the plan is I'll kind of just ride that, and I'll be able to achieve some of my other stuff that I want to do. I want to get a nice ranch on a lot of land. Get a nice
Mhm.
shop, park all the cars, all those shitty old cars that I want to buy. Just like
Yeah.
kind of be kind of free of the poor capitalist situation that our
Mhm.
country is in, where
Yeah, absolutely.
everybody's broke all the time and nobody can afford to. They're kind of just in this cycle of like living paycheck to paycheck.
And that leads pretty well into what we discussed last time with the first car market and how it's just impossible to own a car nowadays.
Yeah.
It's just impossible to have a living wage nowadays. It feels like it's bad, but um, in a little bit more of an optimistic light, post 2030, we'll be past our mid 20s, and that'll kind of be the point in our lives where like
We're
if
kind of
either
just
of
coasting.
us
at that point.
Yeah, if either of us are gonna hit it big, it'll be around this period that most likely happens. Um, Now I've already published my first book.
It's pretty good. You should read
I
it.
Yeah, it's on Amazon. It's called Boat. Um,
Search as
and
well on
I'm
Google.
currently let's see, I actually have the document open right now. I'm currently 968 pages into The Red Flare, which is my next book. And I intend to continue writing books, and that'll be one of my passive sources of income. Um, and it'll be post 2030 that I am like really going to be aiming towards achieving my dream. Um, as long as I can remember, um, my big dream has always been to race in Formula One, and obviously, every racing driver's like big life goal is like, oh, I want to win an F1 World Championship. Um, I came from, I did not come from a position of privilege at all. I've been homeless more than a couple times. I know what it feels like to live out on the street. I know how it feels to be cold. Um, like I've been through my fair share of shit, economically and financially, and I think that's translated on the track a lot. Um, I I have a really big fighting spirit, and um, that's translated into my driving style, which some of my competitors would say is sometimes too aggressive, but you know, um, just f you, go faster. Um,
Don't you not like
uh,
Verstappen because he's too aggressive?
well, Verstappen is not. He has no sportsmanship. That's what I don't like about that. Um, I like to think that I have pretty good sportsmanship. Um, like, if I do something that's out of line, I'll concede the position and I don't brake check people. And like after a race, I congratulate my competitors or apologize, depending on what happened. Um, but like, yeah, I don't like Verstappen because he doesn't do that. It's always someone else's fault. Um, but anyway, yeah, I've always felt a little weird about the fact that I believe in myself in terms of going to Formula One day. Because at the end of the day, I mean, obviously the chances are, well, like literally, I mean, I guess 8 billion divided by 20. That's a lot. Um,
Well, I
that'd do
wouldn't
that
look at it.
math
That's
right.
kind of a doomer way to look at it, because not everyone
Well,
wants to
I
be a
don't.
Formula One driver.
Well, yeah, but like it, it serves the purpose. Like it's really low. Um, and like there, yeah. I mean, yeah. Like I've always felt weird about the fact that I have such an easy time believing myself. And a lot of that comes from my grandpa, who was sheriff of the LAPD. I'm Hispanic. That's where that comes from. Um, and he spent his whole life fighting against that, racism. We're from LA, so it doesn't take much math to line that up. Um, so I feel like I've always had a fighter spirit in my family, and he was my number one supporter before he passed away. Um, so the odds don't line up, but I think with how much I'm lining everything up in my life to specifically make it happen, the fact that I'm trying to keep my spending so low according to um, my financial salaries, um, just so that I can have the money to back myself up. Um, I think I'll make it in one day. And if I do, I'll probably be a little late to the party. I'll probably be in my mid to late 20s by that time, which is pretty old to start an F1 career nowadays.
But I
Um,
feel like something you're kind of skimming over a little bit is, even if you somehow don't make it in, you'll still have a fantastic career. You'll be an author, a business owner, a marine. you'll have all these other things that will still, give you that life that you're looking for.
Yeah. Like I don't
So I wouldn't beat yourself up over it.
yeah. Um and I know like I'm going to make it into racing at some category because literally like the vast majority of my marine salary is not going to be spent. It is like specifically going to be saved so that I can buy myself into a series. Um because I know like I don't have the backing. I know that I need to be able to um make it into a sport without sponsorship. Um and that's hard. Um, F1's the big dream, and I know like it could be another series. I want to do the World Endurance Championship. I want to dabble in rally. Motorcycle racing is another big thing. My motorcycle, I'm going to be taking it to a few Baja races once it gets running. Um, I've got a lot of avenues to get me into racing, but F1 is the big one. Um, you know, Lewis Hamilton, Sebastian Vettel, watching them battle it out when I was younger. Um, like that's like a golden memory for me. And I want to be up there walking in the steps of my idols. Um, I'm kind of setting myself up for failure. I recognize that. Um, because I know that like if I don't make it, I'm never gonna forgive myself for that. But I also think that that's a good mindset in the sense that if I do make it, like that'll be enough for me. I just want to make it. So
Do you really
we'll
think that'll be
see.
enough for you though? What if you
Um,
what if you
well,
make it in and then you never win a race?
I, like that concept kind of scares me, but because it would also be, even if I made it in, like that would in a sense be proving a lot of the people right. Like, I make it into Formula One. Okay, cool. You know, I'm officially amongst the 20 greatest racing drivers in the world, but
Yeah.
I'm not at the top of that sport. I feel like, you know, um, I'm a little bit too prideful for that. I would need to be able to compete at the top at least once. I, I really, really want to win a world championship. I'm not too concerned with the amount. I don't want to be like, oh, I want to break Lewis Hamilton's record and win 9 world championships
Or
because
you
he
mean
won
win
8.
8
No,
because
no,
he only won 7?
he won that. He won that.
But he
Anyway,
didn't.
yeah, well, he did.
But he didn't.
Yesterday the Australian Grand Prix ended under virtual safety car. So apparently that's allowed to happen. So what the fuck? What the heck? Like why didn't that why didn't that happen in 2021? Anyway, um, like I'm not too concerned with breaking many records. Um, there's one thing I can respect Verstappen on. Like Verstappen's not too concerned with the records he's breaking. He just wants to race at the top. And I think that's the kind of the attitude that I have toward it. Like I want to be in Formula One. I want to be in the conversation as at least some of the best drivers of my generation. But like I'm not necessarily concerned with the numbers or anything like that. Because at the end of the day, I'm joining Formula One because I love racing, not because I'm obsessed with winning. Although that is also part of it. Because I don't know, that winning feeling is pretty good. So, um, yeah, I think I am good enough for it, but the world's not a fair place. I'm broke. I have no sponsorship, so there's, I I feel weird about touting myself so much. Like, oh yeah, I'm such a great driver. I would say that I'm pretty damn good at what I do. Like, you know, out of all the skills that I have, racing's definitely the big one. Um, like I'm pretty good at what I do. Take me to a rental car place and I'm Max Verstappen. like you're not winning that. Like that's racing is the one thing that I can think of that like I would genuinely back myself up and be like, I can do this. I can do this good. Um, but like that's just the sad thing about racing is that you know there's really good guy that has no money, and there's pretty okay guy that has daddy's money and can afford his own equipment and everything. Um, I mean, I show up to a lot of races without a race suit. Um, and like, you hear all the stories from karting drivers about. I'm ranting right now, but
No, I get you. I'm
um, um, you hear all the stories from like Esteban Ocon and Lewis and Michael Schumacher. Um, like I'm not a Nicky. I'm not a Nicky Lauda. I'm a Schumacher. Well, maybe not in terms of the driving style. I'm not that narcissistic. I can't tell anyone I drive at Schumacher's level. Um, but like I would say I'm an Ocon. Let's say I'm an Ocon. Like I I don't have anyone's backing. I'm that kid who's fishing, used tires out of the trash can while all the rich kids are getting their brand new like tires straight from factory with all their sponsors and everything. They have full like personnel teams. And I watch these guys pass me on the track, or I watch them and their personnel pass me. And they've got freaking PR teams and whatnot. I'm just like, dude, what? like, dude, this is Pat's Acres, dude. Um, like this is not. I mean, Pat's Acres is like a serious go kart track, but like still, like, and I've
calm
got
down. You know?
nothing. Um, it's frustrating. It's really frustrating. Um, but you do your talking on the track, and that's what I do. I win. So I, there's I'm scared that maybe one day I'll grow up to be like a jaded a-hole who didn't make it. So I'm just like, oh well, like it was just because of the money. Everyone knows that I'm the greatest, whatever. Like I don't want to be like that. I want to be able to prove people wrong. Um, yeah, I'm I want to be past the days of getting laughed at because I'm dumpster diving at the go kart track. I Yeah, at the very least, I want to make enough money to maybe one day, if I have a son or a daughter who wants to follow in my footsteps, um, I want to have enough money to make it so that they don't need to do that. Because I know my mom feels really bad. She can't financially support my dreams. Um, I have to pick myself up a lot of the time. Um, and I know she feels bad about that. So yeah. Um, yeah. But I'm gonna stop. And long term goals post 2030. What are you thinking for? So you've got, you know, the RV business, switching your main flow of income to the RVs. What comes after that?
So, sometimes usually when I think about my future, it's usually when I'm showering. I don't know
Yeah.
why, but that's
Well,
when
yeah.
I do that. And really, as far as it goes after that, nothing's really set in stone. I kind of it's kind of just like a baseline for what I want to do in the future, which is, well, I want to, if they're not already retired, I want to have my parents get retired. I want to retire my parents
Mm-hmm.
because they deserve to not work.
Yeah.
And really, I want to provide my wife and my kids, if I have any, with stable lives, because I really like the feeling of like being able to bring something to the table and like being able to make other people's lives easier. And I
I,
also plan on eventually opening like a car themed like bar. I think that'd be really cool. not to
Okay.
like make a whole lot of money or anything, just
But just to have
because
it.
yeah, it can lose money for like I want to have enough money to where I can have that and will lose money and it doesn't bother me because I still have plenty of money from the RV
Yeah.
storage. And really from then on, I'll kind of just be able to just like be comfortable and have enough time and money to do things that I wouldn't be able to if I didn't have this mindset. And speaking of mindsets, I remember you were saying like um you wouldn't be satisfied if you just made it a Formula One. You'd want to do other stuff as well, and you kind of
Yeah.
added on to that. We should kind of share that mindset to where like when we do something, we're never satisfied. And we always want more afterwards, even when the
Yeah.
original thing was our goal. So I kind of get you there. I
Mhm.
That's kind of something I struggle with. I know that's not a very healthy attitude to have. In some ways, it can be good because a lot of people have the opposite, where it's like I'm bad and that's okay.
Yeah, I'll never be able to understand that. And, I guess like call me selfish or call me prideful, but like I would rather have the mindset that I have instilled in my children than that like if it's done it's good enough mindset.
I agree.
And like I I'm trying to be good about that because I know that if I lead up that expectation, like, there's definitely something like we're different. There's no doubt about that. Um, like I don't want to tout the whole like the whole grind set thing and be like, oh yeah, we're so cool. I can't even use the words because like I'll die from cringe if I even say them. Um, but like I don't want that to be my expectation of my children because at the end of the day, ambition and the desire to change the world, like that's just not something that most people have. And it from what I've seen, it's not inherently genetic either.
No,
It just happens.
usually
Um,
from like trauma or whatever.
well, yeah. Um, I mean, I get yeah. um, like I want that desire in my children, but at the same time, that drive, it's it's made my life just as miserable as it has enriched it. Like I'm pretty open about this, and this is why I'm a big men's mental health advocate, um, and why hopefully whenever I can afford my own helmets, uh, I'm gonna advertise my own men's mental health charity on it. Um, I still haven't decided. I still haven't worked out the details of that because I can't even afford my own helmet, let alone start a charity foundation. Um, but like I've always been a big advocate for mental health, and the ambition and this inherent want of mine to change the world and make it a better place before it's too late. It has, you know, there has been many, many times in my life where I've just wished that I was normal. Like I have definitely found myself um, with a desire to just like not be the way I am on many occasions. Cause like being me kind of is stressful. like for me it's stressful. Maybe call me weak and whatnot. Um, but like I've got so many dreams, got so many things that I'm doing, and I think a lot of it sometimes it comes out as um like bragging and being full of myself. And that shit just makes it feel worse. Cause like I don't try to be like that. But I just like throughout my entire life I've had this mindset of like if people don't know that I'm doing well and that I'm doing things in spite of what I'm struggling with, then I'm not gonna be good enough. So like I just find myself like always talking about like, oh yeah, I started my own business. Oh yeah, I published my own book. I'm a US Marine. I'm a racing driver. I do all these things. And like it's like I'm trying to advertise myself as good enough for others because I know like no matter what I do, and you talked about this, you led into it a little bit with what you asked about F1. Like I'm trying to be good enough for others because I know damn well I am never going to be good enough to meet my own expectations. Like I'm like always, I'm just going to be setting the bar higher and higher and higher, and I'm never going to reach it because it's just like, okay, well, if I can do this, then I can do that. And you know, um, I know my fate is to burn out one day because eventually that bar is going to get just too high and I won't be able to reach it. Um, and I mean, I don't think I've ever asked this directly of you, and I don't want to put you on the spot because this is a podcast, but like I feel like you could probably attest to that a little bit, or yeah, no,
So, in the context of what you burning out eventually.
in context of like constantly setting the bar higher for yourself to the point where you don't meet your own expectations because it's always just going higher and
Yeah,
higher.
I I don't think I'm like that to the extreme that you are, but I definitely like that's kind of the big like that's been my big like um issue that I'm kind of trying to get over a little bit. Which it's a better mindset to have than like what we were talking about earlier, where like I'm bad and that's good. I'll never be
Yeah.
good and that's not bad. It's from Wreck-It Ralph, the
Yeah.
movie.
I was gonna
Um,
say like it sounded familiar.
um, but something else that I kind of need to realize, and it's a good thing to like remember, is that you play the cards that you're dealt, right?
Yeah.
So if you're dealt, you know, four fours and nothing else. I've never played blackjack or whatever or anything like that, so I don't really know. But if you're dealt kind of a shitty hand, you can only get so good of a hand.
Yeah.
I guess, right? Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
You
I'd
can't.
say so.
So I guess it's kind of like a where you max out your stats, and different people have different stat caps.
Yeah.
And that's something you kind of need to remember, is that you won't ever have the same opportunities as everyone else, and in some ways you won't be able to outwork someone with certain opportunities that you didn't have.
Yeah.
And I guess it's just being the best version of yourself, you know. And
Yeah.
you and I both know, like, we're always constantly trying to be the best version of ourselves, and every time we see that, we set the bar higher. And at
Mhm.
some point, you kind of do need to realize that even though there is room for improvement, the way how far you've come from who you were is like so incredibly far that you have to eventually maybe be proud of yourself. I don't know. It sounds pretty crazy, but at some point, I want you to be proud of yourself.
No. Yeah. I think and I think that's something that like you listener can aspire to. Like we spend so much time engulfed in our own little worlds that like we forget like, hey, you're a human being, you have limitations, and like that's fine. But like also try to be the best version of yourself, push those limitations, see how far you can go before those limitations stop moving. Um yeah, and don't embrace an unhealthy mindset like I have because I can't do it. Can't let it go. Don't be like me. Do not be like me because um yeah, plus I'm 16 years old as of the date of recording. By the time this comes out, I'll be 17.
That's right, the
But
31st.
yes.
Well, wish my
So
man a happy birthday.
yeah, this is probably going to come out on my birthday.
What
So
day is your birthday?
it's Saturday or Sunday. I don't
Okay,
remember. I'm not celebrating my birthday this year, so
I am.
I'd say yeah. Um,
You do you want? Oh yeah, that's right. I need to save a little money. I need to get you a double quarter pound with cheese
hell yeah,
with extra
yeah,
sauce.
sounds great. Um, Hell yeah.
If you're wondering
Yeah,
how I
I'm
did
gonna
that,
I'm gonna
I
be
DoorDash stuff to his house once in a while, even though we're 3,000 miles away. And it's pretty
yeah,
fun. It's like a
it's pretty
tradition
funny.
now.
It's a tradition. It's happened once, bro. It
Yeah,
should be a
but
tradition, though.
it should be. And you should
Yeah.
eventually, when you're a Formula One world champion and you have a bunch of money, you should
Well, we're
Uber
both
stuff.
gonna be rich. We're
Yeah,
both gonna
but
be
there's a
rich.
difference between a business owner that has, a lot of money, but, can't buy Bugattis every day, and a Formula One world champion.
Well, that's what I'm saying, right? You should get into endurance racing so that when our paths cross, right? We'll race the 24 hours of Le Mans together.
That'd be cool, but I think I'd just purposely try and hit you.
That's why we need the same team. We'll
Well, I mean,
exchange
that wouldn't
stints.
stop me.
You're gonna hit me in the pit lane? Like,
Yeah.
you're just gonna drive straight in the garage and
Yeah,
just
no,
knock
I'm
me
just gonna hit
out?
you with the car. You're not even gonna be in the car. I'm just gonna hit you.
um, yeah, I like
I
I
still
know
kind
that's
of
probably
have
never
a
gonna.
like. So after I'm basically what I'm trying to do with like the goals I have set right now is setting up kind of a canvas that I can, you know, build my life upon, setting myself
Yeah.
up with the best opportunities to kind of do what I want.
Mhm.
And you're such a future oriented person. You're like I'm kind of future oriented. Like I have a lot of plans and dreams and all that stuff. That I have a lot of wants, but not to the extent that you do. Like all you think about is your future. And
Well, that's trauma.
yeah,
Yeah,
that right there's trauma.
like, yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it's definitely like it's complicated. It works out well for me. Makes me difficult in my relationship.
I know.
That's what well, I call her my wife, but we're not married yet. Um, that's our biggest like difficulty is the fact that I'm like always just like okay, we should live here, we should do this, we should do that, we should do this, we should do that. Hey, you wanted to start a business one day, you wanted to start that cafe, okay, I found this address, we might be able to buy that out by the time we live there. Like I'm always talking about the future, and I annoy myself. Like, like I just can't. I've never been able to live in the now. Um, I guess that's another big fear. Is like, what happens when I do get to the future? Am I just gonna be like thinking, just like, okay, this is what I've got to do when I'm 80? Like,
You know that I've kind of thought about that too. Like, at what point we reach? Like, I don't know. That's it. I feel like. What do I
you
feel
know,
like?
your
You know,
your guess is as good as mine.
I don't. I
I
I don't really know what I'm gonna be doing up to when I'm 60. I think I'm just gonna be. I want to live a nice, easy, kind of chill life. You
I
know.
mean, Jackie Stewart. You know Jackie Stewart, right?
I might. What does he do?
Jackie Stewart was a three-time Formula One world champion in the 1960s.
Oh, I do
Um,
not.
yeah, Jackie Stewart is a legend. He's 84 years old, and he still attends almost every single Formula One race weekend.
Hmm.
And he you can see him wandering around the paddock. He's always wearing a plaid newsboy cap. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, he's a character, and like I feel like that's one big thing, um, is that if I do make it into Formula One, I don't want to just burn out and fade away. Holy shit, never fade away. Is that a Cyberpunk reference? Cyberpunk 2077 is a great game. You should play it.
I've never played
Oh,
it, so I'm
shut
not allowed to
up.
say.
Yeah. um, you plus
Just,
you like
just
Red
get
Dead
Red
too.
Dead. Just get Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, but if you want Red Dead Redemption with cyborg prostitutes, you should
Yeah,
play
but
Cyberpunk.
you know what they have in Red Dead
Cyberhookers.
Redemption?
Cyber.
They have
What do they have?
normal prostitutes with
Yeah.
southern accents.
Well, they don't have quarters
Okay,
in
but
Cyberpunk
does
because all the
does
money is.
Cyberpunk have coded in horse ball shrinkage?
No, but
Didn't think
Cyberpunk
so.
has. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay, whatever you say, pal.
Anyway, let's get back to Jackie. Sorry, Jackie Stewart. Now you are going down in history in the same conversation as
As
the
force ball shrinkage.
in Red Dead. We love you, Jackie Stewart.
We do?
Uh, yes, we do. Jackie
Okay.
Stewart is awesome. Um, yeah, the Flying Scotsman. That was his. Yeah. Um, and he still attends every race weekend, and like everyone knows him. Well, except for the dumb celebrities that Formula One hires to look around looking pretty.
Like me. Maybe that's what I'll do.
You'll be one of the celebrities that comes to the Formula One weekend without actually knowing what's going on.
Yeah. Why are those cars going so fast?
um, yeah, like I feel like I'd like to kind of be a Jackie. Um, like I want to still be around the sport, and I want to have an impact on it, on the decisions that are being made and like where it's going. Because at the end of the day, like Formula One is such a precarious sport, and it's hard. It's easy to make a mistake in Formula One, not just as a driver, but as someone who's overseeing the sport itself. Um, so if I could be at least close to one of those roles when I'm older, and maybe having my own race team. That's the big dream with Aberdeen. With B&B, Aberdeen is eventually I'm going to try to turn Aberdeen into a race team. Um, that's like the big goal with that. Um, I've also always had dreams of making my own car, but B&B would have to get really big for me to
Yeah.
be able to fund that.
But that would be pretty cool,
So
though.
that would be cool. And it'd be a hell of a PR stunt too.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, um, you know, maybe an Aberdeen Formula One team 60 years on from now. Um, yeah, but like when we're older, I don't. I think I'm not really afraid of much. Um, you know, you can't really have that much fear as a soldier and a race car driver.
Yeah.
Um, so like nothing really scares me that much, but there's always been two constants, and that's the concept of death and holy shit, today's pod is like a lot heavier
Yeah,
than
it's really
last
deep.
episode.
The other one we were
Yeah.
arguing about Mercedes the whole time. You
Yeah.
know, so how afraid are you of death?
I it like I've had anxiety attacks while trying to sleep thinking about it.
Really?
It's well, like yeah, because it's like so it's a really stupid because like I'm not scared of the lights going out, right? That's not really what scares me. It's the
Just what
fact that
happens
like
afterwards?
yeah, because okay, there's always been this one really dumb scenario, and no one's been able to understand it, and I feel really dumb for putting it out on in public because it's such an embarrassing thing to talk about. But let's say okay, I'm not a religious person. So if anything happens after death, it's either like complete nothingness, which within itself is terrifying, or or ghosts. Because I've had quite a few paranormal encounters in my life, and I'm confident enough, or I'm not confident enough to completely rule it out
That
from my
shit's
own
100.
beliefs.
Yeah, that shit's real.
Yeah, definitely not confident enough to rule it out. Um, so let's say ghosts are real, right? And our spirit goes off and it just does its thing for the rest of eternity, right? The sun 8 billion years from now, or something like that, 6.5 billion years from now,
A long
five
time from
billion years
now.
from now. Yeah, when that thing inflates and like swallows up the earth, where are all the ghosts gonna go, bro? Like it's such a stupid thing, but like when you think about it, you're like, oh shit, that's like actually terrifying. Like what's gonna happen? I don't. Yeah, that scares me to the point. This is actually something that I wanted to talk about. To the point where I think if I could be buried or if I could have my body taken care of any way, shape, or form, I would want to dedicate it to a very specific branch of science. I would want to dedicate it towards trying to reach out to alien life. I would want my body boxed up, put in a freezer, and shot up into space. Not even kidding.
That's
I'm not
kind.
even
I
kidding.
mean, that's one
Like,
way to go out.
Yeah, like I think like because that is like a genuine. I'm so terrified of the idea of like being either like completely just gone or having like a little bit of my consciousness left over, and however the hell ghosts work, we don't know, probably never gonna know. Like, and just watching the world end. Like that shit sounds horrifying.
For some reason, to me, I'm not. Well, also I'm religious, so I'm
You
not
have
worried
like your
about. Yeah,
confidence in what
yeah.
happens. Yeah,
And to you, it sounds like, oh, this guy's an idiot. But like to me,
I
it's
no,
different
I
because I'm
know, I don't,
religious.
I
But
don't, I don't. Yeah,
so that's the big reason why I'm not super afraid of, um, being dead. Just,
yeah. You
but
have the
even if death was complete nothingness, loss of all consciousness and all that, and it's just nothing, for some
yeah.
reason that doesn't really bother me. I don't know why. I'm just
I
not
think
too worried. I'm not too bothered by that. I don't know.
yeah. I mean, I feel like that's the attitude that a lot of people have, where it's just like it's gonna happen, and like a lot of people can find comfort in the inevitability of that. And it's weird because I've embraced one of the big things that I personally am into is philosophy. um like I read a lot of philosophical works, especially Aristotle. I have like half my bookshelf is Aristotle.
That guy's really smart.
um um and like he kind of championed stoicism. So you'd think like that would kind of reflect on my attitude towards life, or towards death. It's definitely reflected on my attitude towards life. Like what like shit happens, deal with it. But on my attitude towards death, it's just like nothing can really seem to shake that fear. And I think maybe a lot of that is due to the fact, like due to that that lifelong feeling of inadequacy that I've had. Just like I constantly need to be better. So maybe it's not death as much as it is like the idea of running on a time limit.
Yeah,
Like, yeah,
I
I
get that.
think, yeah, um, yeah, um, but before all that, before we kick the bucket, um, I did mention that I want to dedicate my body to astronomy in some way. And that is because of a deep rooted love for space.
Space is really cool.
Besides cars, space is probably my biggest passion. I love astronomy. I have a telescope and I use it every single time the stars are out. Um, I love space so much, and I think like I would genuinely put in like a decade of schooling on the side uh, to go to the moon or
The
something.
chair's so
Um, yeah. Um, that is like that's probably like I don't I honestly don't know if making it the Formula One or making it to the moon is less likely.
funny.
Um, which I think that kind of puts into perspective how hard making it into Formula One is.
Or how,
But
or you can look at it in the perspective of how easy it is to get to the moon.
exactly, there you go.
That describes our personality types in a nutshell.
Yeah. Um,
I was gonna say something that was gonna be really smart and philosophical, but I kind of forgot because I was playing
huh.
with my hair clip and I accidentally let go and it hit my lip and now it
Ow.
hurt.
Um,
You don't need to worry about that because you don't have hair clips because your hair's a half an inch
short.
long. Yeah,
Yeah, because I have military cut.
yeah.
Um, it's getting longer though. I have to cut it soon. Yeah, like I that's the dream that I talk about the least. But it's probably like number one or I well honestly I really don't know which one I want more between making it into F1 and getting to the moon, but or just going to space, let alone the moon. Um, but like those two are so big for me, and I really don't know where I'm gonna have the time to go to space and to get the schooling to like be approved for something like that. Um, Well, then again, if I make it an F1, like I'll be rich and I'll just be like, take me to the moon, guys. So like, um, yeah, I love space so much, and I think, I mean, well, my next book is going to be about space, so I'll get to talk about my love of space a little bit more when I start writing that. Um, but
That's
yeah,
that's a good sentiment. That's also a good spot to kind of wrap it up a little bit.
I did want to say one more thing though.
Okay. This should be titled Grant talks about his future and then Mason adds on this stuff.
Man, shut the fuck. You know what?
No,
Okay,
it's a good
well,
it's I like listening to you. It's
yeah.
good.
Well, I don't like listening to me.
Well,
Uh,
you need to work on that then.
um, you did mention that you want to start a car bar. I want to hear more about that.
It's kind of just an idea. I'm gonna toss around something that I can pour my passion of cars into,
Hmm.
besides racing, because we'll see how racing f- figures out in my life.
I I really want to participate in some sort of racing series with you.
Yeah, they'll just crash into me. But I mean, it'd be cool to have something kind of on the side that I can dedicate some time to. This will probably be later, like in my 40s and 50s,
Yeah.
um, where I can kind of just hang out and have a place that makes people happy that people want to go to. I don't know. It'd just be cool. That's kind of what
What
I thought about in the shower.
would it be at like a more like a family establishment or like a
Yeah,
proper like
it'd
bar?
be like a more of a family establishment. I wouldn't,
That's
but it'd be like so. There's this one place. If you live in Palm Coast, it's called Sunrose Cafe, where it's like half of it's like a breakfast cafe, and then there's part of it's like a bar. And then there's a
Mhm.
lot of places like that. That's kind of how it'd
Yeah.
be. And I'd park like an old, like a '69 Capri, no, a '67 Caprice in there,
Hmm.
or something like that, something cool, and
Yeah.
call it a day.
I think you okay, but would you make it so that the doors are unlocked and people can sit in it?
Mm, depends on how rich I am.
Okay.
Depends on
Yeah.
if I
I
can afford to
think
place it or not. Oh, you
I
know what I do
think
want though? I do want to have a big shop where I can, put a bunch of my cars and all the other toys that I buy.
mm-hmm.
A big bulldozer with steel and concrete poured on it,
Yeah.
just in case.
That's like in case of like a nuclear like war. Like
Or
not for like anything like
yeah, like
not like
if
extensive political corruption.
oh yeah,
Uh
definitely no. There's no corruption in the United States. The
there's
government wants
none
the best for us,
whatsoever.
and they care about us.
Exactly. Um um please sponsor me, US government. I need money.
The U.S. government,
Yeah, yeah,
U.S. government, the one entity.
my entire car will just be a United States flag. Um,
Hell yeah.
but I think that is really cool. You should name your bar the Condor or something like that because I want to start an Aberdeen jazz club, and we'll be like,
Jazz club, huh?
I want a jazz club. Yeah,
That's pretty
I
cool.
want it.
I'm not
I
big
want it.
into jazz though.
I love
I like the
jazz.
club part though. That's pretty cool.
I love John Coltrane, Miles Davis. I want like a live stage.
Does Mr.
Um,
Saxo beat count as jazz?
um,
Because in that case, then I'm
like,
big into jazz.
um, but yeah, I like if any of you have seen La La Land, that's where I got the idea. Um, like I want like a little moody, and then like a bunch of cool car pics on all over the walls, like a car themed jazz club. So very specific niche, but it's gonna be for rich people, so they won't care. Um, and maximum 3 alcoholic drinks. Nobody's getting hammered at my jazz club.
Well, that takes all the fun out of it. People get better when they're hammered. People get better at jazz.
um, but yeah, live performances, dark and moody, really good food. Um, yeah, I really want that to happen. And I want an LA location, a Portland location, and then obviously London and Paris because I'll be living in London. Yeah. And you should have a Condor in all of those locations too, plus Palm Coast, obviously. And then we'll be like, they'll be next door neighbors.
So you want me to franchise a restaurant into multiple different countries?
3.
Oh yeah,
Just
only
3.
3.
Yeah. Plus, we'll be rich, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
That's
We'll cross that bridge
that.
when we get
Well,
there.
yeah.
My
That's
Carrera
gonna be a
GT isn't
while.
gonna pay for itself.
Exactly. Yeah. We'll see when we get there. If this podcast is still around at some point in the future, well, chances are it won't be.
Yeah.
But we'll revive this episode
That'll be so
someday.
cool, and like, cause we'll have made it.
Yeah, we'll revisit, um, and chances are it'll be before going to the moon or getting my dead body shot out into space because
I
I'm
would want to
scared
see
of.
that.
Yeah.
Who do you think is gonna die first?
Me, absolutely me.
You think you're gonna die of like old
Like
age, or you're gonna be like killed in some way?
I'm 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 well, I mean, racing safety's gotten a lot better,
Mm-hmm.
so like I
You'd
guess the
probably die
chances
in
of that are
like
lower.
a drunken bar fight.
Man, what the fuck? Come on.
I don't.
I'm sorry.
Why do you think?
I'm not the one who puts whiskey in his protein shakes.
Well, I
So,
would never do that. I wouldn't
oh
do
wait,
that.
oh yeah, never. I forgot.
You know,
Yeah.
you know, it has one shot has 190 calories or something like that.
Yep.
No, I don't know how I knew that though.
Yeah, he just like it's like trivia knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna listen to
What
this
was I
Senna
gonna say?
soundtrack.
What was I gonna say? Um, Again, I was gonna say something. Yeah. So why do you think you're gonna outlive me, or I'm gonna outlive you?
I think. Well, first of all, I'm a shit ton more stressed.
Oh
I
yeah.
have a less of a like it's all right attitude. Um,
Do you have any gray hair?
not that I've seen. But honestly, if my hair started graying, I'm never gonna lose it. That's my Hispanic genes. I'm never gonna lose my hair. My grandpa or my great grandpa, yeah, he was 92 years old. He didn't like he hadn't lost any of his hair.
Wow.
It was crazy. Like still thick, luscious locks.
Hmm.
Paw.
Oh, I'm gonna go.
Um,
I'm gonna be gray by like my 30s. My dad
I
was.
think I
My
think
dad was salt and pepper in his like late 20s. My
I think it's
grandpa
I
was
think it's
gray
gonna
in his
look good on us
40s.
though.
Yeah, it'll be a good gray. I'm not gonna lose my hair. My grandpa still has a full head of hair. My dad hasn't lost any hair. My grandpa, my dad's side, he still have a thick, full head of hair, and I have like a absurd amount of hair. Like it's super dense. It's like a forest. So even if I did thin
Yeah,
a little bit, it might be good. But I do actually have a couple gray strands at the back.
really.
Might have hit my head.
Wow.
That might be why. But I have like a little like small lock that's kind of gray.
Wow. Interesting.
I I don't know. It might be over
Um,
for me.
yeah, bro's so done. um, yeah. Well, I know I'm gonna embrace the gray.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it depends if I gray
but
good or if I gray bad. I probably won't ever have a really nice thick full beard though.
yeah.
It's
I mean, my
unfortunate.
dad's got like a really full beard. Well, from what I've seen, based off of pictures. But
My dad's got a
like,
like a decent beard. It's not like super thick, but like it's not thin. It's like it's
I,
beard enough to be a beard. But
I definitely am gonna want a 5 o'clock shadow when I'm older. Um, Something like that.
I'll either do
But,
that
but
or
some good stubble.
I might either have like kind of like that if I can, or I'll have a mustache. Cause
Hell
yeah,
yeah,
I
Arthur
think I can
Morgan.
pull. I think I can pull off. Yeah. Oh, he has a full. He has a beard. Like he's a beard
Well,
beard.
I mean, depends on
But
your
yeah,
shave,
more
but
like John Marston. 'Cause he has a mustache.
yeah.
Well, no, he doesn't. Well, not in the. Anyway, that's Red Dead
Okay.
Redemption lore. It's not.
I think we have ADHD.
Dutch's mustache is pretty sick though. I don't want one that thick. I'd want like kind of a what's the one where it like kind of goes out and like curls a little bit.
Yeah,
Not I
that's
wouldn't have that exactly, but it'd be like thinner, not like that. And also, someone to be a firefighter, I need a mustache because it's like a thing.
yeah. You're gonna have the Jim Gordon stash as a firefighter.
Let me
Um,
look up Jim Gordon must uh Batman. Yeah, kind of like that. A little thinner.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Um,
You know,
um,
what's that one guy that you say looks like me on Instagram who has a long curly hair?
I don't remember,
But you
but
know who I'm
yeah,
talking about. It's something like that.
yeah, I know the guy. Yeah. Um, yeah. I think I think we're an hour and 10 minutes into our episode, which is pretty good. Um, I think we should end off on one very specific question. If our lives are going to be dedicated towards doing one thing that will make the world a better place, what is it? What are you going to want it to be?
I can't come up with something like that on the spot.
Well, we are recording at like 10 o'clock your time, so.
Yeah, man. I would want. I would want a. I would want to set up a government that actually wants what's best for its people and gives
Oh shit.
everybody equal opportunity to fulfill their dreams and their hopes and their goals. You know.
Yeah. We kind of completely forgot to go over that part, but yeah. Um, Completely forgot about like the whole politics thing. But yeah, yeah, there's that. Um, yeah, I think for me,
Bro asked a question and didn't even think of an answer.
no, I know what I want to say. I'm just trying to figure out how to word it. Um, I think I want to eventually be an inspiration for someone in my own shoes. You know, later on down the line, there's going to be a kid who has had a shit ton of stuff thrown at him, and he's going to need someone to look up to achieve whatever his dream is, whether it be racing or whatnot. And I want my story to be that inspiration for him. Yeah, I
That's
think that's a
good.
good place to end
That is
off.
good.
Yeah. Well, this has been a pretty good episode. A lot heavier than the last
Yeah.
one. Different vibe,
That's what
but
happens when you're tired and you're talking about the future.
yeah. But I really like today, and I
I
feel
went
like we could
through.
have talked for another hour.
Oh yeah. No.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Especially you. You were
Thank you. I know.
yapped your tail. You know. I went
I
through
know I love
32
yapping.
ounces of water through this. My water
Yeah,
bottle's almost empty.
I'm parched. My water bottle is empty on the floor. I need to get some water. Um,
Well, thank you everybody for tuning in to
yeah.
two teenagers talk about their crazy dreams and try and make
Um,
it all sense. But
yeah. If you want to help us achieve those dreams,
and you
um,
want some sick clothes in the process.
you can visit barrettbrownco.myshopify.com. We've lowered the prices on all of our hoodies. Price drops are eventually going to come to everything in Series 3. So check it out, and we will see you next week or the week after that at some point. So, yeah. Thank you, everyone, so much for listening, and we'll see you around.
Bye bye.